After Whitney Houston's tragic passing, everyone had their own opinions about her relationship with Bobby Brown. Many blamed him, others speculated. But now, Bobby is finally breaking his silence to reveal the truth once and for all. Join us too as we unveil what really happened. Bobby opens up about his relationship with Whitney. Up till this very moment, a lot of people still have the mindset that Bobby Brown was jealous of his wife, Whitney Houston, especially after listening to Houston's interview with Oprah Winfrey. And right now, it seems Bobby is finally ready to clear the air. In an emotional interview with the ABC News, Bobby tearfully opened up about the tragic final days of his ex-wife, Whitney Houston, and their daughter, Bobby Christina. He shared new and deeply personal details about his marriage to the legendary singer, including their struggles with substance addiction and the heartbreaking loss of their only child. As he reflected on the past, he also spoke about the pain of watching history repeat itself in the most devastating way. Whitney Houston was one of the greatest singers of all time, and her fame became so loud after starring in the movie The Bodyguard. However, as the years passed, she battled addiction, and the world witnessed her struggles. Her behavior became unstable, and the worst of it all was her voice. Something that was once unmatched began to change. And despite all the success, she was facing personal demons that were pulling her down behind the stage. At the center of her life was Bobby Christina, the daughter she shared with Bobby Brown. Sadly, just 3 years after losing her mother, Bobby Christina suffered a tragic fate that mirrored Whitney's in an eerie and painful way. Bobby Brown spoke openly about his love for Whitney. Despite their many challenges and allegations, he admitted he never stopped loving her. When they first met, their connection was instant. Whitney, known as America's sweetheart, and Bobby, labeled as the bad boy of R&B, seemed like an unlikely couple. However, he believed their similarities made them perfect for each other. They got married in 1992 in a glamorous wedding, but behind the fairy tale, problems were already beginning to surface. He recalled a painful moment before their wedding when he discovered Whitney using substances. He was shocked to see her taking substance, but instead of walking away, he felt the need to protect her even more. Over the years, rumors spread that he was the one who introduced Whitney to hard substances, but he strongly denied this, saying she had already been using before they met. He admitted to his own substance use and took responsibility for being part of their unhealthy lifestyle, but he insisted that everyone makes their own choices. In public, they appeared to be the perfect power couple. For instance, at the premiere of The Bodyguard, they looked happy and deeply in love, but then there was a lot going on in their lives. Fortunately, in 1993, they welcomed their daughter, Bobby Christina, into the world. She was their pride and joy, and for a while, life seemed beautiful. However, their struggles with substance continued behind closed doors, away from their daughter's sight. Bobby faced multiple legal troubles, including arrests for substance possession, drunk driving, and parole violations. Despite all this, Whitney stood by his side, even recording a romantic duet with him. But in private, their problems were rising and becoming too much. They would lock themselves in one part of their mansion, getting high for days while their daughter was cared for by nannies. He insisted that they never use substances in front of her, but he admitted that it was impossible to completely hide their addiction from her. As time went on, the world began to notice Whitney's decline. One of the most unforgettable moments was during a famous television interview when she strongly denied using substance, saying it was beneath her. Bobby Brown believed that it was a terrible time for her to be in front of the cameras. He felt that they both needed to step away from the spotlight, but instead, they ended up even more exposed when Whitney agreed to appear on his reality show. The show, which also featured Bobby Christina, gave the world an inside look at their chaotic life. And many believed it did more harm than good. Looking back, Bobby Brown admitted that as parents, they failed Bobby Christina. He believed they could have done better. He acknowledged that having money and fame at such a young age was both a blessing and a curse. One of the biggest challenges was that they always had access to substances, and addiction became a powerful force in their lives. In his book, he admitted that he had used multiple substances, then he went ahead to call their names. As the interview started getting more interesting, he described the final years of their marriage as the darkest, with both of them struggling to get clean. There were moments when one of them would try to stop, but the other wouldn't be ready, making it nearly impossible to break free from the cycle. Their marriage eventually crumbled, and in 2006, they divorced. Bobby believed Whitney wasn't ready to live a sober life, and that was the final breaking point. After their separation, Whitney tried to make a comeback. She appeared on television in 2009 for a long-awaited performance, and it was clear she was determined to turn her life around. Bobbi Kristina, now a young woman, even joined her on stage, showing the world their close bond. But the happiness was short-lived. Then came the most saddest part of his life. In February 2012, the shocking news of Whitney Houston's death sent waves of grief across the world. She was found in the bathtub of her hotel room, and an autopsy later confirmed that substance use contributed to her accidental drowning. The world mourned the loss of an icon, but for Bobby Brown and Bobbi Kristina, the pain was personal and immeasurable. At that moment, the relationship between Bobby Brown and his daughter became more strained, to the extent that he wanted to be there for her, but there were many obstacles in their way. Meanwhile, Bobbi Kristina's connection to Nick Gordon, a young man who had lived in Whitney's home and was rumored to be like an adopted son, became a point of concern. After Whitney's death, Bobbi Kristina and Nick Gordon claimed they were in love and even suggested they were married, though no legal records ever confirmed it. In 2014, Bobby Brown and his daughter finally began to rebuild their relationship. They had an emotional reunion on Father's Day, and he was hopeful that things were getting better. Bobbi Kristina had even decided to move to Los Angeles to be closer to him. However, before she could make that move, tragedy struck. Just 2 days before she was supposed to leave for Los Angeles, Bobbi Kristina was found unresponsive in the bathtub of her Georgia home. The circumstances were painfully similar to her mother's death. She was rushed to the hospital and placed in a medically induced coma. But after 6 months, she passed away in July 2015. Bobby recalled the final moments with his daughter, saying he told her it was okay to let go and be with her mother. He was devastated, knowing that if he had just been able to get those 2 days back before her death, she might still be breathing. After various investigations, the official thing that caused her death was pneumonia caused by drowning and substance intoxication. She was laid to rest beside Whitney. Although no criminal charges were filed, Bobby Brown believed there was only one person who knew exactly what had happened to his daughter. He refused to say the name, but it was clear he was referring to Nick Gordon. A wrongful death lawsuit was later filed against Gordon, and Bobby Brown was determined to get justice for Bobbi Kristina. Despite the pain, Bobby Brown found a way to move forward. He remarried, built a new family, and focused on being a better father. He acknowledged that he had made mistakes in the past, but he believed that his story wasn't over. He was determined to continue honoring the memory of Whitney and Bobbi Kristina, while also embracing the second chance at happiness that life had given him. Although Bobby had tried to clear his name, no one truly knows if they are true or false, because he had deal with a lot of controversies when Whitney was alive. And from that very moment, a lot of people disliked him. So, let's find out some of these controversies. Bobby's troublesome lifestyle. Bobby Brown became famous in the late 1980s because of his unique mix of R&B, pop, and hip-hop, along with his energetic stage performances. His talent made him a star, but with success came intense public attention. As his fame grew, so did his reputation for wild behavior. His partying lifestyle became a hot topic in the media, but not for good reasons. One of the biggest moments in Bobby's life was his relationship with pop superstar Whitney Houston. When they got married in 1992, Many saw them as a power couple in the music industry. At first, their love story seemed like a dream, but soon their marriage became one of the most talked about celebrity relationships of all time. Their struggles with substance abuse, accusations of cheating, and constant fights made headlines, often overshadowing their achievements in music. The public watched their lives unfold, with the media constantly reporting on their troubles. Bobby's legal problems started in 1993 when he was arrested after a fight at a nightclub. Over time, he had more run-ins with the law. By the mid-1990s, his career was starting to decline, even though his music still had fans. His reputation as a troublemaker began to overshadow his talent. Things got worse in 1998 when he was arrested for driving under the influence in Florida. So, in January of that year, Bobby Brown faced legal trouble in Florida after being convicted of 2 misbehavior charges, which was driving under the influence and causing property damage. These charges were connected to a 1996 incident where he crashed Whitney Houston's sports car into a condominium sign. As a result, he was sentenced to 5 days in jail and placed on probation. Later that same year, in June, he was arrested again, this time for allegedly slapping a woman at the Beverly Hills Hotel. However, the case was dismissed due to a lack of evidence. Brown's legal troubles continued into the 2000s. From May to June 2000, he ended up behind bars for 26 days due to a probation violation. The trouble began when U.S. Customs agents in New Jersey arrested him as he returned from a trip to the Bahamas. The arrest was linked to an outstanding warrant related to a previous drunk driving conviction from 1996. The warrant had been issued in 1999 after his probation officer reported that he had failed multiple substance tests with substances found in his system. This led to a serious legal battle that resulted in him serving time in jail. In November 2002, Brown was arrested once again on substance and traffic charges. During his arrest, authorities discovered that he was still wanted on the same 1996 warrant. This set off a series of court appearances, and by January 2003, he pleaded guilty to the old drunk driving charge and a speeding violation. As a result, he was sentenced to 8 days in jail in DeKalb County, Georgia. However, his legal troubles did not end there. In August of the same year, he was sentenced to another 14 days in jail for violating his probation in connection to the same case. In December 2003, Brown found himself in even more serious trouble when he was charged with battery after physically assaulting his wife, Whitney Houston, and making threats against her. Police reports confirmed that Houston had visible injuries on her face. Just a few months later, in March 2004, Brown was sentenced to 90 days in jail for failing to pay $63,000 in child support to Kim Ward. However, he only spent 1 night in jail, as Houston stepped in and paid off the debt on his behalf. Even after avoiding a longer jail sentence, Brown's child support issues persisted. In June 2004, he was handed another 90-day suspended sentence for missing 3 consecutive child support payments. However, the sentence was put on hold just 6 days later after he cleared the overdue payments. Throughout these years, Brown's legal troubles seemed never-ending. His struggles with substance abuse, financial problems, and personal conflicts constantly kept him in the public eye. With each arrest and court appearance, his name made headlines. But behind all the controversy was a man battling deep personal challenges. His run-ins with the law reflected a pattern of unresolved issues, making this a particularly turbulent chapter in his life. At some point, his music was no longer the focus because his personal struggles had taken center stage. During this time, his marriage with Whitney Houston was falling apart. In 2005, they appeared in a reality show called Being Bobby Brown. The show attracted a lot of viewers, but instead of improving their image, it revealed the chaos in their relationship. Many scenes showed them struggling with substance use and frequently arguing in public. Their toxic relationship became impossible to ignore. They separated in 2006, and their divorce was finalized in 2007. After their split, Bobby's music career faded even more, and his legal problems didn't stop. In 2013, that was after Whitney's death, he was arrested again for driving under the influence and sentenced to 55 days in jail. At this point, he was more famous for his troubles than his music. But even after years of mistakes and setbacks, he slowly started trying to rebuild his life. The tragic loss of Whitney Houston in 2012 and the heartbreaking death of their daughter, Bobby Christina, in 2015 changed Bobby's perspective. He began speaking openly about his battle with addiction and his efforts to turn his life around. In interviews, he admitted to making mistakes and expressed his deep regret over the choices he had made. Over time, he shifted his focus toward his family and personal health. Bobby also reconnected with his musical roots by rejoining New Edition for several performances. These moments reminded fans of his true talent and the incredible music he had contributed to R&B. Though his solo career never reached its former glory, his influence on the genre remained strong. His unique sound and style inspired many artists who came after him. Even though he was no longer a dominant figure in the music charts, his impact on R&B, especially during the New Jack Swing era, was undeniable. In 2012, he released an album called Masterpiece, his first in over a decade. Although it did not become a big commercial success, it symbolized his resilience and desire to keep moving forward. He may no longer be the chart-topping star he once was, but his name remains a significant part of R&B history. Bobby Brown's journey has been filled with extreme highs and devastating lows. Yet, no matter how many times he fell, he always tried to get back up. His story proves that even the biggest stars can struggle, but what truly matters is the ability to rise again. His legacy is tied to his time with New Edition, his successful solo career, and his turbulent marriage to Whitney Houston. However, his story is also one of redemption. Despite all the obstacles, legal troubles, personal losses, and career setbacks, Bobby is determined to keep moving forward. His life serves as proof that it is never too late to change. Fans often wonder if he could have avoided his downfall, or if the pressures of fame and personal struggles were simply too much to handle. Many also question whether he will ever reclaim his place in the music industry, or if his brightest days are behind him. While reflecting on his life, Bobby has learned to value his family, health, and the lessons from his past. His story remains a reminder that success and failure often go hand in hand, but true strength comes from the willingness to keep going. Even in his most difficult moments, his influence on music and his contributions to R&B continue to be remembered and celebrated. Now that we've talked about his controversies, let's see how substance spoilt his life and the family he built with Houston. Health issues and the consequences of substance use. Bobby Brown's life has been a complex journey marked by early talent, personal struggles, and resilience. As a young boy, he was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, a condition that affected his ability to focus and control impulses. This early diagnosis played a significant role in shaping his experiences, both personally and professionally. In his early 30s, Brown faced another challenge when he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a mental health condition characterized by extreme mood swings, including emotional highs and lows. This diagnosis added complexity to his life, influencing his behavior and decisions during a critical period in his career. Alongside these mental health challenges, Brown struggled with substance use. He openly acknowledged his preference for a certain substance and admitted to developing alcoholism at a young age. These substances became coping mechanisms, but they also led him down a path of addiction that affected various aspects of his life. Reflecting on his substance use history, Brown noted that his experimentation with substance began before his relationship with Whitney Houston. However, his substance use became too much during the 1990s, leading to the use of more dangerous substances. This period marked a troubling turn in his life, as he became increasingly involved in the world of illegal substances. In 1993, Brown's addiction led to a dangerous situation when he was reportedly abducted by a New York street gang known as the Preacher Crew. This incident stemmed from a $25,000 substance-related debt, illustrating the dangerous consequences of his substance abuse. The situation became intense to the point where Houston intervened, demonstrating her commitment to Brown by paying a ransom of $400,000 to the gang, who had threatened his life. This dramatic turn of events was kept out of the public eye, as it was not reported to law enforcement authorities, further emphasizing the chaotic and secretive nature of Brown's life during this challenging period. The combination of mental health struggles, substance abuse, and dangerous associations painted a complex picture of a man grappling with his demons while navigating the pressures of fame and personal relationships. Despite these challenges, Brown's journey also reflects resilience and a continuous effort to overcome the obstacles he faced. Outro. So what do you think about Bobby's relationship with Whitney Houston? Do you think he was the cause of the rubles and issues in their relationship? Let us know in the comments section. If you want more interesting revelations about your favorite celebrities, be sure to like, subscribe, and watch the next video shown on your screen. See you there.